Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Nerdy Watchlist Podcast. This is episode 2 of the podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about episode 3 and 4 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. These are some crazy episodes, by the way. A lot happens within these 2 episodes, so hope you all are prepared. If you all do enjoy this podcast, make sure to like and subscribe, and also check this podcast out on Spotify if you are a audio listener. Also, this show will be audio only. There will be video, but it'll be like this for YouTube watchers who are already seeing. There will be a picture. I will add my camera for upcoming shows. I couldn't get my camera to work properly on my laptop, which we're currently using my laptop instead of my PC because my office is not set up yet, so we will get there. But once I get my PC set up, we will add in the camera. The camera just did not like my laptop. Also, if you guys have any thoughts or questions or anything about what we talk about, or even in past episodes, or you have just a random question you want to ask, just put it all in the comments of the Spotify and the YouTube. I will check them, and in the future, if we get enough comments, we may do a segment where I answer the questions each video. But yeah, until then, we're just gonna talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier episodes 3 and 4. Also, if you guys did not catch the last episode of the podcast, you might want to watch it because it's episodes 1 and 2. But John Walker is the new Captain America. There is no Steve Rogers as Captain America anymore. Sam gave up the shield to the government for a museum, and the government gave that shield to this guy named John Walker, who is kind of, you'll see how his personality changes throughout the show. He starts off as this guy who seems okay for the role. He seems okay for Captain America. And the actor, Wyatt Russell, does a dang good job during the show on playing this character. I think he's actually Kurt Russell's son, if I'm pretty sure. But I think he does a pretty good job. He got a lot of backlash for this character. Him, as an actor, got a lot of backlash for this character. And poor guy, because he was just playing a part. We are on episodes 3 and 4 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Episode 3 is titled Power Broker, which we will get to why it's called that later. This episode starts off, past the recap, this episode starts off with John Walker going to a building searching for Carly Morgenthau. During this scene, you can kind of see his anger issues. A guy spits on him, and you can see the anger on John's face. And if I'm being honest, I really think he would have punched the guy if he wasn't trying to be the symbol of Captain America. Although I could say the guy who spit on him would have deserved it. I could also see why he is angry in this situation. But you're the Captain America. You have to be a symbol. You have to set an example for every person around you. In the next scene, you see Bucky and Sam going to meet Zemo. Zemo is locked up in prison for his actions from Civil War, so he's been locked in prison. Bucky goes in to talk to him alone, which personally wouldn't be a good idea during all this, because Bucky was the one he framed in Civil War, so I feel like Bucky talking to him alone would be bad, although he doesn't have the Winter Soldier code phrases in his head anymore, so it wouldn't necessarily do Zemo any good to try anything, because it ain't gonna work. So Bucky walks in, and Zemo instantly tries the code words on him. And if you don't know who Zemo is, he is a guy that you could love or hate. He has a very punchable and huggable personality. With that being said, he really tries so hard to aggravate Bucky. Bucky tells Zemo about the serum. Zemo kind of says he knows where to start in all this. Zemo was also like, hey, you assume Hydra had something to do with that, so that's why you talk to me. Which makes sense why they would talk to him, because he seems to be the guy to go and talk to about the super soldier serum stuff. But in the next scene, Bucky tells Sam about breaking Zemo out of prison. Which, during this scene, Bucky is explaining to him, like, this is a plan, not something that's already happened. Which, I guess it technically was a plan. He says he didn't break Zemo out of prison. Zemo broke himself out of prison. But Sam doesn't know that Zemo is breaking out of prison. Also, I'm with Sam on all this because Sam disagrees with Bucky that they should break him out on this, and I agree they probably shouldn't have, because he's kind of just one to mess with the group, in all honesty. But throughout the series, you will see why I say he has a huggable and punchable personality. But Sam tries to remind Bucky that this is the guy who framed him during Civil War for the murder of the King of Wakanda, T'Chaka. Throughout all this, Zemo is breaking out of prison. We're not going to go through about his plan because kind of a lot happens during all this, but let's just say Zemo breaks out of prison. And Bucky technically helped. They go into a garage full of cars. These cars are owned by Zemo. While Zemo's talking about the serum and how the serum got out, then people can make like a whole group of super soldiers, kind of like the Avengers. And while he's talking, he goes into a car and finds his iconic comic book mask. The mask that he wore in the comics. It's purple, and he stuffs it in his bag. They had to get into a plane. Too bad. Also, this plane is owned by Zemo. You find out Zemo was, for one, rich, but for two, royalty before Sokovia got destroyed. Sokovia got destroyed during Age of Ultron, which we will also get to. You're going to hear me say that a lot. We will get to Age of Ultron when we watch that movie. But on the plane, Zemo snoops through Bucky's list of names whenever he was the Winter Soldier. And remember that old guy we talked about in the first episode? The one who Bucky technically killed his son whenever he was the Winter Soldier? Yeah. Well, that guy's name was on the list. The son who got killed, his name was on the list. And Zemo asks about him, and Bucky gets mad. It's like, hey, don't touch my stuff. In the next scene, you see Carly Morgenthau sitting beside a woman on her deathbed. This woman was apparently like the leader of the Flag Smasher group, refugees, before, she got on her deathbed. We get to see the emotions that Carly has, though, and that she isn't completely ruthless. It's a sad scene. Even if we don't know much about Carly or the dying lady, it's still sad because we get to see the emotions. And normally the bad character doesn't show emotions, so it's kind of a nice scene as well. In the next scene, we go to Madripoor. They kind of open with this beautiful shot of the city, but I think the city's actually probably full of bad people, so yeah. During this scene, though, Sam has to disguise as someone, Sam has to disguise as this guy named the Smiling Tiger, which is kind of like a royal guy, I assume, who's also probably like a bad guy. But Bucky also has to pretend that he is the Winter Soldier, which he's not the Winter Soldier anymore. He doesn't act brutal like that anymore, and in all honesty, it's nice seeing the Winter Soldier, because the Winter Soldier is kind of a badass. But Zemo takes them to a place called Lowtown. Lowtown looks like crap, if I'm being honest. There's people standing around with guns, people just look angry, it just doesn't seem like a fun place to be. While being under disguise as the Smiling Tiger, though, Sam has to drink the Smiling Tiger's usual at the bar, which has a piece of a snake in it, which is disgusting. And you can just see on his face how disgusted he is. Apparently the guy named the Power Broker kind of runs the city, He's kind of the big boss of the city. Who knows Zemo. And Zemo kind of just says he's like the judge, jury, and executioner. During this scene while they're at the club, someone tries to grab Zemo, and Bucky goes into fake Winter Soldier mode and starts fighting everyone. It's great seeing him fight, like I said, because that metal arm looks so painful whenever he's attacking people. And it's kind of cool just to see him take people out. They end up getting invited to meet someone. Zemo says that he would offer this person the Winter Soldier along with the code words to control him for Super Soldier Serum. They won't actually activate him. By the way, guys, if I haven't mentioned that, they won't do anything. During this scene, though, Sam gets a call while still being undercover as a Smiling Tiger. Sam gets a call from his sister, which is awful timing. Just bad timing. His sister kind of blows his cover during all this by calling him Sam, and then the lady that they were talking to gets shot, and everyone starts fighting. They start running, and a bounty is put on their head for killing Selby, which was the lady. During this, someone is shooting people, and Zemo calls them the Guardian Angel because he can't see them. Then out of the shadows comes Sharon Carter, which is Peggy Carter's niece. If you don't know who Peggy Carter is, she was the love of Captain America before he got frozen in the ice. Well, this is her niece. During this scene, she kind of recalls the scene of Civil War where she stole Cap's shield for them and Sam's wings, which led to the government kind of being after her and she having to go undercover. And she's kind of against the law right now, and can't return to the States, which is kind of upsetting because the Avengers kind of just got pardoned and she did not, because she's not an Avenger and she did go against the government. So yeah, it's kind of, and the fact that she's been through all this during even during even Infinity War and Endgame and all the movies since Civil War, that's kind of crazy because even Spider-Man's happened since then. A lot of movies have happened since then. So she's been undercover for a good minute. Sharon takes him to a place in Hightown as a safe house, pretty much. During her time undercover, she became a real hustler. She kind of just sells, like, real paintings. Apparently, museums keep, mostly have fake paintings and stuff, not real paintings. She sells real paintings. And now that she's against the law, she kind of finds that the Stars and Stripes stuff kind of bullcrap, which is kind of upsetting because before she seemed like she was so up for Captain America, all of that, whenever it was Steve. But now that, like, Steve's gone and the world's gone to crap and there's this new Captain America who's just not it, she kind of just doesn't care anymore. Sam tries to make a deal with her about getting her pardoned, and especially since they cleared Bucky's name, even after all the people he's killed, they cleared his name, so they should be able to clear Sharon's name for helping the Avengers get their stuff. In the next scene, they go to a club. In this club, you get to see Zemo dancing, which is why I say he has a huggable personality, because him dancing is just the highlight of the episode. Nothing really happens in the scene, but you get to see Zemo dancing, which is so funny. And the next scene, they go to a shipping container yard, and they go to a shipping container 4261, which turns out to be like a secret room of a guy who created Super Soldier Serum. While While they're down there, some guys show up, and Sharon starts shooting people and fighting people up top. You get to see Sharon in action. I'm pretty sure she was an agent for S.H.I.E.L.D. beforehand, like whenever she was undercover watching Captain America in The Winter Soldier. Captain America, The Winter Soldier. Apparently the guy who was working on the serum kind of got blipped before he could finish. And he came back, and Karli Morgenthau kind of stole all of his serum. But he continued his work for the power broker during this, which is why more serum was made. Zemo ends up shooting that guy, which wasn't part of the plan. Leave it to Zemo to mess up the plan, which is why I say they really shouldn't trust him because he's still evil. Then a rocket is shot at the crates, and the place catches on fire, and Zemo technically escapes. They have a gunfight outside the shipping crates, including Zemo, who is also fighting people. I like the fact that Zemo didn't run away. He kind of stayed there and started helping out. The next scene, you get to see more of Karli Morgenthau and, like, her thought process, and you get to gain a deeper connection to the character. She was talking to a guy, and she says she wished things could have been different. She wishes she could have been a teacher rather than this, but yeah, since the blip, they have different thought processes, and yeah. The next scene shows John Walker talking about Sam and Bucky breaking Zemo out of prison. He says that he knows that they did it because they were as desperate fleets as he was, so it makes sense. Then the next scene shows Sam and Bucky on a plane. Sam talks about how many people had to suffer for Cap's shield. And Bucky kind of does make a comment like, what about all the people that it saved? Sam says he wishes he would have destroyed the shield. And Bucky's like, I would take it before I let you destroy it. Which, good, because I'm just saying, if Sam ain't Cap, I would rather Bucky be Cap, because in the comics, they both took up the mantle of Cap, so I would love to see either or become Cap, which, after it's all said and done, as long as it's not this new guy, I'll be satisfied. In the next scene, the Flag Smashers go to rob a place full of supplies. Karli Morgenthau ends up blowing up this place with people inside. By the way, the guy that she was with did not like the fact she did that. So it kind of seems like this is just not how they run things. They don't normally kill innocent people. They don't blow up buildings. But it seems like they're trying to make a point and put fear into people so that they listen to them. The episode ends, and with Dora Milaje lady showing up behind Bucky, and they're kind of here for Zemo. Like I said, a lot happens in these episodes. But this episode, not as much really happens as in the next episode. Episode 4 is kind of crazy. A lot happens in episode 4. But in this episode, you get to see Zemo break out of prison. You get to see Sharon again. Zemo's kind of becomes a member of the team. Sharon's kind of partially there throughout the rest of the series. I love seeing Sharon Carter back because the last time we saw her was Civil War. And there wasn't many scenes with her, but the last we heard she was against the law. So, yeah, it makes sense that we haven't seen from her. Plus, there were some pretty big movies in between here and Civil War. So, I could also see why our focus wasn't on Sharon Carter. Now let's get into episode 4. Episode 4 is titled The Whole World is Watching. This episode kind of focuses a little more on John Walker's Captain America, which we will explain that, but a lot happens in this episode, guys, so I hope you are prepared. This episode starts off with a flashback of Bucky in Wakanda. It shows Ayo trying to use the trigger words on Bucky. The words don't work anymore. You see Bucky's emotions. He is crying not because he's sad, but because he isn't the Winter Soldier anymore. Like, he doesn't become that bad guy anymore. He's just calm. And it's really nice to see Bucky cry because you never see Bucky cry. You really never see emotions from Bucky. So, it's really nice. In the present day, Ayo confronts Bucky. She kind of demands for Zemo to be handed over. And they just really want justice for the death of for the death of T'Chaka, which Zemo did kill T'Chaka and framed it on Bucky. He used the Winter Soldier look and everything. Personally, the Dora Milaje are awesome, by the way. I'd be scared of them because they are trained well and could kick some serious butt. Ayo also seems like a character you really should fear because I don't think she would hesitate to knock a person out. Zemo, Sam, and Bucky are still on the search for Carly Morgenthau. Especially since the last episode kind of ended on a bombing at the supplies building where they killed a bunch of innocent people. In this scene, Zemo makes a statement that every person who's had the serum has been bad, except Steve. But there hasn't necessarily been another guy like Steve Rogers. So, yeah. The bombing is sad because you hear about the bombing on the news. And like I said, you can tell that it isn't how... It really feels like that isn't how the Flag Smashers would normally deal with things. But it seems like they're trying to make a point and make people fear them so that they will listen. The people on the news also make a comment that their reach is growing as well as danger. I believe it's important because they're gaining views while also putting fear into people. They're also endangering innocent people, but in their eyes, they're trying to make a difference. So, yeah. They go and try to get info on Danya, who was the mother of the Flag Smashers, kind of like the leader. They came back with nothing apart from Zemo getting info on when the memorial of Danya is, because Danya did pass away. She was the lady that Carly was sitting beside on her deathbed. Sam, Bucky, and Zemo are having a convo when John Walker, of course, just has to show up. Sam says he would like to try and reason with Carly, and John Walker is just not having it. He thinks he can control them and that he can tell them what to do. Throughout the series, you slowly see him get angrier and angrier. This guy has anger issues, like bad anger issues. So throughout the series, you get to see that slowly get worse and worse. Sam attempts to go and talk with Carly and try to calm her down. He says he wants to talk to her by herself, to kind of calm down the situation, try to reason with her, and during this, John Walker's like, hey, you got 10 minutes, but before that 10 minutes is over, John Walker already goes in and interrupts the situation, and it kind of goes to shit. During this, Carly kind of escapes because, of course, why wouldn't she? You know, John Walker has to ruin stuff and cause a fight. I think everything would have went perfectly fine if John Walker didn't interrupt the conversation, but Sam seems good at communicating, so I really think if John would have just sat tight instead of starting stuff and being impatient, things would have went well. During this scene, though, Sam tells Carly he agrees with her fight, but not how she's going about it, which I agree. I think that these characters deserve better, and that they're going about it the wrong way. They shouldn't be killing innocent people. They shouldn't be causing trouble. During this, their fight is good, but they are going about it all in the wrong way by hurting people and killing people and stealing stuff. And in the chaos of all of this that's going on, Carly escapes. Well, tries to. Zemo kind of tracks her down and kind of stops her. Well, kind of shoots her. During this scene, Zemo also smashes all of the vials but one, because then he gets knocked out by John Walker, who secretly takes one of the vials and keeps it with him. He doesn't drink it yet, but he keeps it with him. Zemo asks Sam if he's ever been offered serum, which is important to note because, again, he's doing all this stuff without being a super soldier. Sam responds with he wouldn't take it, and he hasn't. But it's kind of important to note that Sam is just a regular human being doing all this. In the next scene, the Dora Milaje show up to take Zemo. The Dora Milaje end up fighting John Walker because John Walker is cocky and he has a big mouth. He starts picking a fight with the Dora Milaje. It's funny because you kind of get to see John Walker get his butt kicked. Also, in one of these scenes, Bucky and Sam interfere, and the Dora Milaje can apparently pop Bucky's metal arm just off. The Wakandans are the people who made his arm, so they know the technology, and the Dora Milaje are like the soldiers of Wakanda. But they could apparently just pop his arm right off mid-fight, like 2 seconds, done. He doesn't have an arm anymore, which Bucky didn't know that they could do that, which is kind of scary for him. Personally, I feel during this scene, John Walker's out of line. He should really try to work alongside these guys rather than trying to make demands and bad impulse decisions and boss people around. He's not the guy in charge like he thinks he is just because he's Captain America. He got the Captain America title and he took it straight to his head. I really feel like if he would just try to work with these guys, I mean, they didn't want to work with him, but if he would just try, things probably would have went better. In the next scene, Carly calls Sam's sister and threatens her and the children. Which I feel like, personally, she shouldn't mess with Sam's family, but she's really just trying to talk with Sam alone without John Walker's Captain America interfering, or Zemo interfering, or anyone else. She just wants to talk with him by himself, which makes sense. And the next scene's kind of the final battle with the Flag Smashers. I don't really think you see them again for the rest of this show. But Sam goes to meet Carly, and that doesn't go well because John Walker infiltrates a place, and apparently he's taken the super soldier serum. He has superhuman strength, and he's got anger issues, and he probably shouldn't have this serum. During all of this fight, Carly accidentally kills Lamar Hoskins, which is Walker's partner. Walker kind of gets angry at that, and Walker ends up killing a Flag Smasher in front of a lot of people. That's why this episode's called The Whole World is Watching, because the whole world was watching Captain America brutally murder someone. It wasn't even the guy who killed Lamar Hoskins, but the poor guy got murdered. John Walker just kept slamming the shield again and again and again. There's blood all over this shield in this scene, and he's just standing amongst everybody with a bloody Steve Rogers Captain America shield, which was a symbol now covered in blood. The world's gonna be scared because the new Captain America just killed somebody. It's kind of a crazy episode, guys. Yeah, that kind of sums up the episode. I have some thoughts. Wowza. The bloody shield is just a scene, because it's upsetting for the world to witness this, and they are going to be scared because what do they do now if the world's new Captain America is a cold-blooded killer? Like, what are they supposed to do in these situations? I also see why, well, first off, Lamar shouldn't have been killed. That was a complete accident. He got hit hard enough that he flew back and he died by hitting something hard enough. It's rough. The whole ending of this episode's rough. But it kind of builds up how the next 2 episodes are going to be and why the finale is coming so soon. But that was the Nerdy Watchlist Podcast, episode 2. This was Falcon and Winter Soldier, episodes 3 and 4. I hope you all enjoyed. Please check out this show. Make sure to listen on Spotify and YouTube, and like and subscribe, and comment down below your thoughts, your opinions, how you feel about this show, whatever, and we will see how that goes. But I'd like to thank you all for listening, and I will catch you in the next episode. Bye!